There's an awful lot of bad news these days. Some of the scenes that keep playing in my mind over and over again include, but are not limited to, the U.S. men's hockey team in the locker room after winning gold. Anybody see this video? Celebrating. They get a call from the President of the United States, who makes a joke about, after inviting them to the White House, how he'll have to invite the women too. You know, sorry about that, guys. And the room erupts into laughter. Scene change. I think about the hearing of Pam Bondi about the released portion of the Epstein files. And I see the survivors standing in the back silently. And her refusal to turn around and look at them. Her refusal to acknowledge their presence. I think about a school in Iran. I think the last I heard, 115 little girls killed by the United States, targeting Iran in a new war. And it's not hard to trace an escalating thread of violence and dehumanization of women, right? Can you see it? Grooming young men to be silent, to join in the joke, so that when they're leaders, they'll look the other way. They won't see the survivors' faces. So that some of them will go on to go on a missile launch, pointed at a school, or better yet, let AI do it. I know this was clear to many of you before now, but I think more of us are coming to terms with the fact that our world, to a large degree, is run by misogynistic, genocidal, billionaire pedophiles and their enablers. And it starts with jokes in the locker room. Are all those young men horrible people? No, of course not. Are they all going to turn out like Epstein? No, of course not. The powers of evil don't need everyone to participate or even approve of them. They just need us to laugh at the joke, right? They need us to keep quiet, to keep the peace, to support the nation, to hold our nose and do our patriotic duty, to stay divided amongst ourselves, to stay judging each other, to stay fighting down here. This is divide and conquer tactics, right? Playing out in front of our eyes. Tale as old as time. As long as we can be divided, we can't find our strength together to fight the powers of evil that are staring us in the face. In the story that Katie read from Luke's gospel, Luke's good news, it seems that things are starting the same way, right? A group of men are gathered at what looks like a symposium of sorts. They're there to dine and drink and debate. It's a meeting of the minds, whoever is deemed important enough to come to this dinner party. And a woman enters the scene. And immediately, the men start making patriarchal judgments, even in their hearts. You can imagine the whispers, the disapproving glances, the judgments, the assumptions about her. What they see when she comes in is sinner, non-observant, non-religious, unclean, divided from us. And Simon, the host, we find out, thinks to himself, well, if Jesus was a prophet, he would know who and what kind of woman that is. What kind of woman is touching him? That she is, again, a sinner. Jesus interrupts. That could be the sermon right there, right? Jesus interrupts. Jesus interrupts the judgment in his heart, the whispers in the room, and says, Simon, I have something to say to you. He shifts the focus from their judgments to her devotion, to her love. And I think, side note, sometimes that's what Jesus is doing for us too in this passage. There have been so many pages of words written about what this woman's sin could be. How salacious, right? Is she a sex worker? That's kind of the general consensus, because what other sin could a woman have, right? Ridiculous. We're falling into the same trap. It doesn't matter what her sin is. And Jesus interrupts us too, our judgments too, reshifts the focus from our judgments about her to, again, her devotion, her love. Back to our scene, Jesus talks to Simon. I got to say something to you, Simon. All right, what is it? He says, I'm going to put it in terms that you understand, economic ones. Imagine a creditor has two debtors, and one owes $500, one owes $50, and he forgives both loans. Which one will love him more? And Simon says, well, I suppose the one with the bigger debt that's canceled. Jesus says, now you're judging rightly. Her status in the community is irrelevant. Her non-observation of religious rules is irrelevant. Her label as a sinner is irrelevant. What is relevant is her love. Judge her by her love, her devotion, her hospitality. Then Jesus, Luke says, looks at the woman and speaks to Simon and says, do you see this woman? Do you see this woman? It's the question that God interrupts all of our patriarchal bullshit with. Do you see this person, this human? Do you see this woman who worked her butt off to get to the top of her game, who just won a gold medal too? Do you see this woman who lost her childhood to traffickers, who is now standing with more courage in her little pinky than you have in your whole body? Do you see this little girl who went to school one morning and didn't come home? Do you see her? The men with Jesus saw sinner like they see joke, like they see object, like they see casualty. And Jesus sees humanity, belovedness, grace, love, radical hospitality. Jesus interrupts and flips the script. She is not an object to be judged. She is a disciple to be emulated. She is the hero of the story. She's the model for us and for Simon. He turns on Simon. Now, you gave me no water for my feet, but she has drenched them with her tears. You gave me no kiss, but she hasn't stopped kissing me. You didn't anoint my head with oil, but she anointed my feet with ointments. And this woman is not worried about what the men's symposium will think of her. She is not concerned with getting things right or being proper or in her place. Her love and gratitude cannot be contained by social boundaries. Her love and her faith has released her from those things, has freed her from her captivity to those constraints of judgment and division and dehumanization. She is emotional and vulnerable and unashamedly herself. Sisters, brothers, siblings, our tears, our gratitude, our vulnerability, our great love, our messiness, that is healing for ourselves and for others. That is what's healing. When Jesus tells her her sins are forgiven, he's saying she's released from the patriarchal religious expectations that have barred her from community. He's not saying, you're forgiven, now get your shit together. Sorry, y'all, I'm sick. I'm having a hard time filtering. He's saying, those things that have held you back and held you down and kept you out of God's love and grace are not real. You are released. You are forgiven. It's the same word. When Jesus says earlier in Luke, I came to release the captives, it's the same word for forgive. Forgive the captives. Release you from your bondage to all the things that have held her captive. This woman is free and loved and accepted by God. And this is good news. You are free and loved and accepted by God. Jesus says you are forgiven. You are released from the patriarchal religious expectations that have held you down. Be free, people. Go in peace. We don't know how the conversation with Simon ends. The woman is free. Praise be to God. But it seems that the men are still captive in the scene. At the end, we hear them grumbling amongst themselves. Who is this? Who even forgives sins, right? Who does he think he is how we might say that now. I want to have hope for Simon, so that's where I'm going to go with this. It's a kind of a choose-your-own-adventure when Luke doesn't finish the story. That's probably intentional, because we're all in Simon's place a lot of the time in our world. Jesus leaves the door open, right? For him, for all the hockey players, for all of us. Do you see this woman? Maybe her interruption, maybe Jesus' interruption can liberate Simon too. Maybe they can liberate us too. That's the point. I think that's the only way out of the mess that we're in, right? Truly seeing each other and bringing our full selves to the table, our messy, vulnerable, weeping sometimes selves. Leaving the door open for others to follow, to see differently, to think differently. It does us no good to perpetuate divisions and judgments in reverse, right? Leave the door open for Simon. Our love for God is not shown by keeping religious rules, but it's also not shown by ideological purity. It's shown by love of neighbor. I know, us good progressive Christians are asking that question we don't want to ask, but who is my neighbor? Yeah, he is, she is, they are. A Muslim creator that I follow on social media said something that stuck with me this week. She said, "You can never hate me as much as I believe in you." Talking about her critics and some of the ugliness that she faces online. You can never hate me as much as I believe in you. Isn't that beautiful? We have to believe in each other. We can't just want to be right. We have to see each other, even the people that are different from us, even the people that we think are sinners. We have to look for their humanity, their belovedness, and see them like Jesus does. Because, y'all, the evil at work in our world wants us divided. It wants us divided. And Jesus refuses that every single time. Jesus isn't our only model. This woman isn't our only model. We see models of this interruption here too. I think about Alyssa Liu, who refused to skate in the way that her coaches and her parents and society thought she should, and wanted to do it for fun, and insisted on having joy and her own self and her full personality in her skates, and won gold in figure skating. Did y'all watch her? Such a beautiful lesson for us. I think about Virginia Giuffre and all the other survivors who have written, who have testified, who continue to hold press conferences again and again and again, despite all of the ways that they are being ignored by the people in power, all of the ways that they are dehumanized. They're interrupting that every time. They show up everywhere. I think about Bisan Oswada, who is a journalist, a young woman in Gaza who's been reporting from the ground since the beginning of that war, who is interrupting Western narratives about what is happening in the Middle East, interrupting that and offering a different picture. Beloveds, these are holy interruptions. They may be messy, they may not follow the rules, they may be improper and impolite, but may we join them. Beloveds, may we join Jesus and all those other holy interrupters in our world. May our love be a door that is wide open to all who will come in. May our love and our humanity persist and outlast and overcome the hate that would divide us. We know that it can. May we be free, beloveds. Amen.